Hey everyone, I'm Brendan. This is my R34 from 1998. Brought in a couple years ago from Entice Imports down in Maryland. He's actually one of our good friends. And this was actually one of the first legally imported R34's from the 25-year rule. So this was brought in after 4 months in storage and about a month and a half in shipping. Came over with most of the parts on it, but really none of the interior. It had 2 seats and a shifter, and that was about it. The rest of the car is bone stock drivetrain with upgraded suspension, all the arms, coilovers, braces, and it's got a full cage inside. So we'll give you guys a quick walk around and show you what's kind of different on this 34 than a lot of the other ones that might come into the States. There's a lot of parts that are kind of hard to identify that we actually had to research when it got here. So I'll show you what that looks like. Every good build has to start with wheels. So these are Works T5R 2-piece. So they're a welded lip. This is 18 by 9.5 in the front, 18 by 10.5 in the rear, and they're stretching 245s until they cry. The front end is GTR style, but what's different is the lip kit on this one isn't exactly the same as the other ones. It's Car Shop F1, whatever that is. The fenders are carbon. These are BV2 style, if not the real thing. They have this slit right here, which most other fenders don't have. And then in addition to that, you'll see this Nismo fender cover that's on the front and the rear, which you don't see in too many either, but I think these only fit on GTR style cars. They won't fit a GTT. So they also put in Urus rears, which is a fiberglass molded to the metal, and they do really good body work out there in Japan, but this is probably 3 or 4 inches wider than any GTT you get. The biggest feature difference between an R34 GTT and GTR, you can usually tell by the rears. If it's a GTT, it comes in kind of shallow with this curve. Besides that, there's really no other part to be able to tell. You can change all the body kit on the car and make it look full GTR. The other difference with all the Skylines is that the front hood, the latch is actually moved on all the models. So this has a modified latch as well. And that is actually a handmade gas cover. As you can tell by how that opens, watch this. This is all formed by hand and some kind of crazy latch from like a cabinet. And it just offset this thing enough to be able to get that a perfect fit, which is pretty impressive. And back here, this is a wing from Esprit. So this is actually an old like JDM company that makes some big wings. It's kind of like Big Country Labs over here. I'm not really sure what the standoffs are from, but this looks like some general kit. I actually re-scanned all of this, and I have a kit coming in to make a whole stainless piece here and kind of fit in nicely to the whole wing. So in complement to the Urus rear kit, these are impulse side skirts. Usually the GTR skirts go straight down the body line and they have a little lip at the bottom. These, I'm not really sure if I've seen them in any other 34. It took a lot of research to find out what these were because they're molded into the car. You can't really just take them off. It's all of this has rubber shielding everywhere, like those Porsches with the RWB kits. They have a lot of really good bodywork and seam sealer over there in Japan. Nice. So we believe this was a time attack car because there's no way you're gonna go through all this effort and not take this thing on a track. It drives really good. There's a full cage inside, one of the Apexi style bolt-in cages. So this is bolted in through the floor and 6-point. And what's really nice is that it goes through the dash, and they handmade these panels to fit around to make it look flush. And luckily for 34, there's actually a vent on top, so all they had to do was take the vent out instead of cutting through the dash. The seats are actually a company called Nani Waya. They're really cheap now, but they're actually decent quality. This one fits like only small Japanese people. So you can't even see over the dash, and it hugs you like crazy. The other seat's a little bit of a better fit, luckily. So you can see how much of a drop there is on this car, and it hugs like crazy. There's no way I could see the road over this. My eye level is right at the wiper blade, that's it. So the passenger can't see anything, but you can still hold on to this. So we went to Japan a couple years ago. Actually, at the point where this was on the boat coming over, we were in Japan for a couple weeks, and all over the place, if you're in Japan, you'll see the vending machines have Boss Coffee. It's like one of their biggest vendors out there. So our friend, our importer, was importing a bunch of clothes, and they came in a little later. He was actually nice enough to give me a pretty good deal on this jacket he got, and it's mint condition Boss Coffee. There's also a Boss Coffee can in the center, which is one of the best ones out there. So I just thought that's a little nice homage. Yeah. So one of the coolest things about old Japanese cars is all the sounds that come out of this thing. This came with a Nismo cluster, and it said 7,000 kilometers when I got this. So when you get these cars, you really don't know how many miles they have, but obviously this is a cluster swap. So I've driven it the other 7,000 kilometers. So it's about time for an oil change now. But everything else works in here. After all the fresh wiring, all new lights, sound system, everything else.
This is what he was talking about with the seats. Young people only. Mint.
So everything has been kind of gone through on this engine, not by me, but we noticed there's fresh freeze plugs on the block, and the turbo's definitely been rebuilt. When I got this, I kind of went through and took everything apart just to make sure, you want to drive a healthy car. This intake pipe is actually from my 32 when I got it, and it actually fits a Neo really well, because usually it comes out and it does this 90 and it's kind of in the way. HKS made this pipe. This is by Blitz. This is by a newer company called Evolve. Besides that, everything is all original in this bay, which is nice. It just turns on, it goes. You don't have to tune, deal with all this other issue. So, drives good. Yeah. Thank you for watching, guys. Please like, subscribe. We're going to be making tons more. The truck, the tractors, and all the other junk we're going to blow up. It's going to be a great year.